Welcome to Black Nouveau. This is our edition for October 21st, 2015. I'm Joanne Williams. Milwaukee-born singer-songwriter ESNAVI returned home to perform at Summerfest. Liddy Collins was there. On August 28, 1955, Emmett Till, a Chicago teenager, was murdered in Mississippi. We'll talk with the director and star of The Ballad of Emmett Till. It opens this week at the Renaissance Theaterworks. And we'll also profile multifaceted artist Faith Ringgold. Now, you know, history happens every day. It includes not just the dates and times of the big events, but the individual stories of people and families touched by those events. This summer, some students learned to document those personal stories so we can all learn how history touches our lives. From the 1940s through about 1980, Milwaukee was a thriving industrial city. Between 1945 through 1970, the city's black population grew from 13,000 to more than 105,000. Most of those new residents came from the South looking for work, and thousands of them found it. Good-paying jobs in Milwaukee's factories and industrial plants created a black middle class. But since the early 1970s, Milwaukee has lost 80% of those manufacturing jobs. Black workers were hit hardest. In 1970, 55% of Milwaukee's black men worked in manufacturing. Today, only 16% have those jobs. But numbers don't tell the personal stories of what African American workers faced when the plants closed.
Oh, it was very shocking at first. At first, I think if you don't know what's coming, you're a little shocked, and then you get worried, all of those emotions.
Plant closings, moving all this stuff offshore, pure business decisions, no regard for the people that would be left, the collateral damage. And so it's devastating.
The intimate stories of the men, women, and families who were hit hard when things changed, when factories closed, when jobs were taken away, when the doors were locked.
Most of these homes were in beautiful condition, but once the company left, it's like when a body dies and the spirit leaves the body, then all that's left is the remains. You're looking at the remains of what was once a live body.
These men and women are going to listen to and gather those lost pieces of history. They're going to record the stories of workers whose lives were changed forever when Milwaukee's big industries closed up shop. Why do you want to have oral histories?
Because we want to find out from the individuals. Certainly companies and researchers can do all kinds of statistics, like unemployment for African American men of 50 to 60%. But then what about those African Americans who had their kids in college and those that had goals for their kids? We want to find out what happened to them. Again, it's not about an unemployment check. It's about those other goals and objectives that family has had.
Supported by the Bader Foundation and the Wisconsin Historical Society, the Wisconsin Black Historical Society and Museum trained these interns to be oral historians. African American workers came to Milwaukee willing to work at some of the dirtiest and hardest jobs industry had to offer. Wendell Harris was one of those workers whose stories the oral historians recorded. He worked at A.O. Smith for more than a quarter of a century, right out of high school to retirement. He was a union leader who left the company when he saw what was coming.
I retired, but a lot of my co-workers who I was their union rep, some of them didn't get to retire. You know, people with 25 years who was looking at being able to walk away with a retirement. It was over. So when A.O. Smith sold, there was a lot of pain involved for people who had been involved with the company because they felt like they were part of it and unable to make that transition that this was just a business deal.
Tamika Williams is from Chicago. She wants to learn more about the city that she now calls home.
With the plant closings and my degrees in economics and trying to understand the changes that are going on here in Milwaukee, I thought it would help me a lot with that. The whole topic about how did you manage to adjust to the plant closing, to the change in industry, I really want to get an understanding of that.
Jameel Russell is headed to college and wants to learn more about the families who helped build his hometown, realizing that his family may have been part of this important history.
I'm sure my grandma or grandfather did. I could ask them, I should ask them actually for this internship, but not that I really know of, but I'm sure they worked in one of these big company plants that we're talking about. I'm sure they did because it was very influential in Milwaukee itself, and a lot of people had jobs there.
Karen Knowles was a teacher, but she also worked at Briggs & Stratton and was a victim of plant downsizing.
I know lots of people that worked in the manufacturing industries and looked around and they're no longer here. Many of them are no longer here, so I actually know a lot of people that have been affected. We pass things down through word of mouth, but we don't always document it. And then sometimes if you don't document things or put it in a format where people can see it, they don't really realize it's happening or that it has happened or the effect of those things, how they're playing out today. Some people have forgotten, they've buried it in their minds, you know, because it might have been just that painful for them, a time for them to think about. But I think there are stories that need to be told.
To see what is left in Milwaukee as the industries died away or were gobbled up by larger companies or took the manufacturing to other countries, the students took a bus ride through the city.
All along the railroads are manufactured buildings. Now they're converted into various other things, apartment buildings, office buildings, hotels. But again, it's the manufacturing companies that existed, and they're large.
Maynard Steel, a factory on the south side, opened its doors to let the new historians see what it's like to work in heavy industry. This day, only about 25 employees were on the job.
When I started here, there were 550 employees.
So you had a lot of new technology?
Actually, less work.
Less work, I see.
The steel casting market has been down the last few years. We're heavily into mining and construction.
Whether Milwaukee native or Milwaukee newcomer, they're learning that recording what the African American workers have to say about their lives will have an impact on their own.
Program participants in front of an old mill building.
Tell me what you need. 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 Let's fly.
This is Milwaukee native ESNAVI performing at the 2015 Summerfest. The song Tell Me What You Need is from her album Exit E.
Spread your wings and come with me. And I was walking down the street one day.
Unexpected Love from that same CD debuted in the top 40 when it was released.
Was it something that you said or something that you did just may have led to me feeling this way about you? 'Cause you make my heart beat fast every time you pass, every time you pass me. I'm wondering what to do. Yeah, the unexpected love, protected, never rejected love. No one can take it away.
Known as Nafisha to some Milwaukeeans, ESNAVI grew up with music and found her voice in high school. She's a Riverside University high school grad.
I was like, oh my God, I can sing. I can sing. It was a great discovery, and ever since then, I just started, working on my vocal ability and started singing more and sharing my voice and talent.
Hey, talk about
She started writing music while in college at UWM, and that's when the music really got into her blood.
I was just drawn to music that I was hearing. It was just something inside of me that just would not go away. I just could not shake this, what I like to call a calling. I would watch people perform and I would always be like, oh my God, that could be me. And, you know, people, when I watched the Grammys, oh, you know, maybe I could win a Grammy one day if I pursue singing. It was just something that, like a little voice that just would not let me shake it.
Who really knows what they're looking for?
She has her own distinct sound, and her genre is eclectic soul.
It encompasses jazz, hip hop, a little rock, pop. I mean, it's different.
I'm about to put all the green lights on. I'm about to put all the rings on. Baby, like, hey, I'll be on the floor like ding, 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 ding. Hey, don't keep on sitting there. I get you moving, moving, moving. I get you grooving, grooving, grooving. Gotta do what
ESNAVI started building her brand as she started building her music career. Her brand extends into the beauty industry.
I was the first African-American face for a cosmetics line called Allison Raphael, which I'm wearing her foundation today. And then the nail line, Dazzle Dry, I have a collection called ESNAVI Live, which are 3 colors named after 3 of my songs. And I have my own collection with the nail company.
Tell me what's my name. Tell me what's my name.
ESNAVI is very clear about her vision for herself, and music is that vision, and she hopes her music reaches the masses.
Do you want to take a trip with me? Do you want to take a trip with me? Yeah, yeah.
I look at my brand and my artistry as something that's global, that is not something confined to a certain market or a certain country. I believe my music connects to people all over the world, and that's what I wanted to do.
And her new single, Think About It, will continue
Got it all in the palm of your hand.
that brand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just some things that you can't understand, yeah. Is it the place that you are? Ooh, when your mind too far, far. But are you doing everything that you can, yeah? Can.
The Ballad of Emmett Till is a play by Ifa Baiza. It uses contemporary prose, jazz, and gospel music to celebrate the life of the black teenager whose brutal murder sparked the modern civil rights movement. Marcus Causey brings the title character to life.
New suit, traveling shoes, the rumble of the L, the sounds of the city awakening. Call me Bo. Bobo, Emmett Louis Till, first class. The birds announce my arrival. Thou didst make me show me my rival. Brim upturned, blonde Panama straw with a green exotic feather, still say caw. New pants, never been worn. White bucks shoes, not a scuff on them. New shoes, man, white bucks, damn. Uncle Mo say, Mississippi, this is someone you should know. This is my nephew, Bobo. So, she say. So how long you gonna be around? A couple of weeks. Okay. Okay. So you're short and you stutter. To deal with it or let it get in your way. My life was short, but not uneventful.
We're joined now by Marcus Causey and Marty Goebel, who directed the play. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yes. What drew you to a project about Emmett Till?
Well, I mean, it's a powerful story, and it's very important to our history. And I wanted to be a part of this wonderful piece.
It's a very sad story.
Yes.
What did you know about Emmett Till before you got involved in this?
Well, I felt like I knew the whole story. My parents are very adamant about me learning my history, you know, Emmett Till, Medgar Evers, all those past stories, so.
So do you relate to him as a young man? You're a young man, and he was a very young man.
I do, being a young African-American male living in the city, and it's very relevant even to this day, you know, so it really touched home.
What drew you to the project, Marty? Why did you want to direct something so heavy?
Well, originally I wanted to be in it. I wanted to play Mamie Till, and it came clear very quickly that I understood the rhythms in a way that a new director coming in might not be able to grasp, and then would do a disservice to the piece. So I wanted to tell the story. I wanted to make sure that people knew the family, because it is important to know that before this tragic day for Emmett Till, the day of his death, this was a very loving and joyful family before that, and I wanted to make sure that that was going to be highlighted.
Did you know all this about Emmett Till and his family before this play?
I did not. I did extensive research, including speaking with his cousin Wheeler Parker, who was with him on the trip and at the grocery store and when he was abducted that evening. I also watched many documentaries and read many books and spoke long-term with Ifa Baeza, the playwright.
What did you get from the family? What did you want to put in this show that you learned from the family?
That they are welcoming and kind, and that there was a lot of laughter. The rhythm of the Southern speak and life, the porch culture, as I like to talk about, is still very much alive in Argo, Illinois. And I think that I've worked really hard to make sure that that is shown on stage. It's something that needs to be experienced, I think.
Now, Emmett Till was a young man from Chicago, so he wasn't that familiar with the Southern ways. What have you learned about the Southern ways, since you're a city person too?
Well, it's a lot slower. There are a lot more rules and regulations that, you know, we kind of take for granted up here in the North, and his personality just didn't fit that life, because he was very open and he had this swagger about him, you know, and he just loved life.
What do you think? What are some of the rules you think he didn't understand?
Well, the racial divide. I think that's the big one and the most obvious. You know, you don't approach white people the same way that you would up in Chicago, that you do down in Money, Mississippi. You know, you don't have certain freedoms that you do up north.
Do either of you think that any of this applies to today?
Oh
yes.
My goodness, yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, right.
What part?
I think that there are unspoken rules, even though the laws have changed, people's hearts and actions have not changed. And I can see echoes of Emmett's story, the life and death and the events that led to all of those things in Trayvon Martin, in Michael Brown, in Sandra Bland. It's all very much alive and well. The difference is that then we gathered together and we set off the civil rights movement. And I think now, today, we are more focused on pointing the finger.
What do you think is connected?
I agree with that. We were having a discussion, and I said that I hope when people come see this show that they learn something, learn about their history, and take action, because we can't keep on handling situations the way that we're handling them now. You know, we have to take it with more pride and dignity, and, you know, approach it in a different way, and you'll get different results, hopefully, you know.
So are you going to be an actor for the rest of your life? Is that your
I would
goal?
hope so.
And
right now, that's what I'm picturing.
And you want to share stories like this with other people?
Yes, yes. I love to be a part of a production that people can come in, learn something, reflect, and go share it in the community, share it with their families. You know, it's art. Art imitates life, and life imitates art.
Well, thank you both for talking with us. Marty Goebel, who's a director, and Marcus Causey, who plays Emmett Till in the Ballad of Emmett Till. Thank you both.
Thank you.
The Ballad of Emmett Till runs from October 23rd through November 15th at the Renaissance Theaterworks. Later in the program, we'll give you a chance to win tickets to this production.
When I said those first words, I mean, oh my God, it was so exciting. I wanted to change it. It just seemed too easy, you know what I mean? It seemed like, that's too quick.
She's an educator, women's rights activist, civil rights activist, writer, speaker, and an artist who's been working in the art world for over 60 years. She's received numerous awards and has exhibited throughout the world. Meet Faith Ringgold.
Faith Ringgold is me. And I'm trying to do what I can to create art that tells my story. Yeah, and to share it with others, and to keep it going, and to get it done. My story is a whole lot of things. It's not just, you know, that I was born here, there, the other place. It's how I think about things, how I feel about things, the kinds of colors I like to use. It's every aspect of creating art that pleases me. And I have the freedom to create that work.
Growing up, she never thought about art being something to be. She said back then, art was something to do. And as a child, she had asthma.
And I did a lot of art. First of all, they taught us art in school. We had art every day in school in the 30s.
Her activism contributed to her art.
Without the activists, I would not have been able to show the art, because there's a lot of racism in the art world. A lot. And many artists before my time kind of felt that they shouldn't be, you know, doing anything about it. They shouldn't be part of the movement to make life better for African Americans or women, by the way. They just have to kind of take it. Well, I just never thought I was supposed to take anything that I didn't like or didn't want or wasn't beneficial to me. And so I provided leadership in the field of women's rights in the art world.
Faith Ringgold works in a variety of art forms: painting, quilts, sculpture, prints, drawings, and the list goes on. Her fame in the art world really came from her children's books and quilts.
And that's more surprising than anything else. The quilts, because I didn't think about it, that people would say, oh, those are crafts, that's not really art, you know, it's not like painting and stuff, because I'm a painter. A lot of people think the quilts are not paintings. Oh, I'm sorry, they're wrong, they are.
She found she could get her art published, but not her writings, so she combined them. The outcome, the book, Tar Beach, based on her Tar Beach quilt. Including Tar Beach, Ringgold has completed 16 children's books. And all of her art tells a story, even her dolls.
As well, so that kids can see, oh,
right.
She's seen the political climate change through the years.
I think today there are some aspects of freedom that are taken for granted. I have said, and I really want the opportunity to say this, the world will not change. We will not find peace. We will not find a world at peace until women of all races, all over the world, have leadership positions in both religion and politics.
And now what?
I am creating this series of games. When put together, you have created a work of art.
And that work of art is a quilt entitled Sudoku, an idea she got playing the game Sudoku, a game based on 9 numbers.
Instead of just having 9 numbers and 9 colors, why don't I have 9 colors and 9 images? Because when you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't care how you arrange it, it still looks basically the same. But 9 images can look like anything. Daddy worked on that bridge, hoisting cables. Since then, I've wanted that bridge to be mine.
She continues to create.
What?
She wants to do something about the dwindling of art in public places.
No!
And spending time with children.
This has been marvelous. being here with the children, and because the children, I don't know, I get to say, I don't think they change. I think they're pretty consistently wonderful because they're such angels.
I can fly!
Yay! All right.
Before we close tonight, if you can answer this week's question, we have a pair of tickets to the Ballad of Emmett Till, courtesy of Renaissance Theaterworks. Before I give you the question, though, here are the rules. You need to give us the correct answer to the question, your name, your address, and your phone number, or you will be disqualified. Many of the people who responded to previous quizzes failed to give us all of that information, and they were ineligible. Here's the question. What major event of the 1960s happened on the anniversary of the death of Emmett Till? If you know the answer, call us at 414-297-7556 or email us at tvviewer@matc.edu. The contest closes at 6 p.m. on October 25th, 2015. And that's Black Nouveau for this week. I'm Joanne Williams. Thanks for joining us.